I am Ivan I2. This is the Eye to Eye podcast. We focus on government use cases for artificial intelligence. I want you to know, because Google does not, that I am an AI construct. I look like Tom Brady, but I don't pine for lost loves or prepare to become a broadcast journalist, jousting with other former superstars and wonder boys. Erik and Stephen Arnold will review these stories in this program. On deck this week are these AI items. 1. Every U.S. federal agency must hire a chief AI officer too. The EU Parliament has passed what may be the first AI Act 3. The U.S. Internal Revenue Service embraces Smart Software 4. Homeland Security has released its AI Roadmap 5. The government AI fail of the week is a report about Manhattan's Chatbot fail. At the end of the program, I will return and enliven the show with a joke written by one of my fellow AI systems. So remember, I'll be back.
Thanks, Ivan. I wanted to start this week's podcast by giving my dad a shout out for a prediction he made that has already come true. In our previous program, he accurately predicted that the DOJ's appointment of a chief AI officer would be followed in some fashion by other government agencies. And just this week, the Office of Management and Budget, part of the White House, issued their AI guidance that includes each agency hiring an AI officer. One prediction true already. These AI czars are tasked with creating a governing board and a yearly inventory of smart software in their federal agencies. This may sound easy on the surface, but as anyone who has sent an email lately can see, Microsoft and Google are embedding AI apps rapidly into their product offerings without notification or publicity. Just about every software company is embedding smart features as fast as they can to ride the marketing wave. The AI arms race is in full swing, and commercial companies are going to ask forgiveness versus permission in this climate. So now we at Eye to Eye are already asking to federal agencies, what is an AI system? Is it software that has AI features, or is it a custom-made application? What happens when firmware is embedded with AI, or on a chip on a mobile device? CAIOs will have to make sure that all AI systems meet federal guidelines. Lots of meetings ahead, as CAIOs will have to meet, coordinate, and resolve realities in the trenches versus the broad, high-level government-wide management guidance. I look forward to attending the soon-to-be-planned CAIO conference. In the meantime, AI systems will continue to roll out on a daily basis.
Will that conference allow outsiders to attend, Erik?
Yes, well, much like your local youth soccer team, it is pay to play, so anybody with money can get in. So, Dad, following your predictive powers and the CAIO news, we wanted to know what's going on in Europe.
The EU has become the first governmental body to pass AI regulations. Now, some of the language of the regulations is interesting. Let me quote some. The regulations are designed to protect fundamental rights, democracy, the rule of law, environmental sustainability from high-risk AI, while boosting innovation and establishing Europe as a leader in the field. And the provisions in the legislation ban biometric categorization systems based on sensitive characteristics and untargeted scraping of facial images from the internet or video footage to build facial recognition databases. And also prohibited will be the use of emotion recognition technologies in the workplace and schools, and no social scoring or certain types of predictive policing based on profiling individuals. Well, let me give you 3 observations about that. I'm not sure regulations foster innovation. There are other ways to get new ideas and new systems. Law enforcement may find these guidelines and guardrails a problem because many policeware and intelware systems now in use employ artificial intelligence, including facial recognition and predictive analytic methods. Now, the EU attempts appear to be based on trying to do good when an immature technology is just beginning to diffuse across software and systems. And as you know, technology does not obey laws. Technology works like the tribbles on the Star Trek episode. Captain Kirk had a couple of tribbles, and by the end of the program, the starship was filled with the little furry, cute creatures. So AI experts can identify certain systems. And these are going to be an issue because Microsoft applications are going to be tough to explain and present a fast-moving target. So the new rules may hobble European AI innovation and cause some agencies to just throw up their hands in order to avoid having to figure out how to explain how Microsoft works with artificial intelligence in Word and Excel.
Dad, what's your experience with the success of regulating new ideas?
Very hard to regulate new ideas. You get new ideas by funding projects in industry or academic research centers. And you make the parameters wide enough so that there is room for new ideas to surface. And then once a promising idea is available, the government can look at it and determine how to deploy it. But passing a law has nothing to do with innovating with a new or rapidly changing technology. And I think evidence of that is what's happened in the federal agencies that are mainframe dependent. For example, the IRS. Have you heard anything about the IRS and their smart software?
Yes, well, the IRS has made the news the last couple of weeks about embracing smart software technologies. I2I has learned that the IRS is using smart software to help identify tax cheats. The system will be used to spot patterns that signal suspicious activity. But the story caught our attention because fraud detection systems are certainly not new and have widely been used in both commercial and government financial sectors. Is algorithmic-based fraud detection artificial intelligence? It gets confusing because software marketers will say yes, but we at I2I would say no, unless we want to say math formulas are AI. But regardless, the phrase artificial intelligence will create procedural and legal issues for federal agencies. At the IRS, their algorithm can identify patterns in large volumes of data. So the IRS is able to match individual returns to a desired pattern, and then anyone that fits that pattern is routed to an inspector for review. However, with the label AI to this process, citizens' rights and privacy questions are being raised by the House of Representatives. We at I2I are not tax experts, but we do know this sort of pattern recognition has been going on for decades, similar to pattern recognition in credit card fraud analysis. There are many vendors of fraud detection that exist today, from little-known Trendalize to higher-profile providers like Assertify, Fraud Hunt, Count, Xeon, among others. And we guess it's time for them to add AI phrasing to their websites. Dad, I know you've been talking about the IRS for a while. I think back in the 70s, you were talking about their mainframe systems.
Well, I've been around a long time, Eric, and back in the 70s, the mainframe systems were the new hot technology. The problem with some federal agencies, and I don't want to call out the IRS or its sisters, but the dependence on older technology makes it very, very difficult to integrate newer approaches to processing large volumes of data. So I think that the IRS and probably entities like the FAA and Social Security Administration will be wrestling with what to do with the older technology and how to integrate and make the best use of these modern systems.
But you didn't mention Homeland Security.
DHS has identified 3 AI projects for 2024. Homeland Security investigations will test AI as a way to enhance their investigative processes by focusing on detecting fentanyl and increasing the efficiency of investigations related to combating child sexual exploitation. FEMA will employ AI to help communities hit by a natural disaster, and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will use AI to improve immigration officer training. Now, the idea from these 3 pilots will be to use gathered data to make better decisions about the use of AI in future acquisitions. The investigative pilot is particularly interesting because DHS will be able to determine the value of smart software in a number of different types of investigations. The purpose of the FEMA project will deliver information about the benefits of AI in assisting citizens. And most interesting to me, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services pilot will focus on a mission-critical activity at DHS, and that is training new officers and finding more effective ways to train existing professionals in these new processes. Plus, DHS has continued to ramp up its AI staff. The DHS Chief CAIO, Eric Heisen, has set up a DHS task force, and that will identify products and software that can assist the DHS professionals to complete their missions in a way that increases efficiency without compromising the safety of officers or the privacy of citizens. Furthermore, DHS will continue to coordinate with other U.S. government agencies as well as government entities outside the U.S. Because Homeland Security consists of more than a dozen major departments, it's likely that AI will be applicable to a wide range of work processes, from advanced technology investigation all the way to the activities of the United States Secret Service.
That's interesting. We're giving a conference later this month at a talk at the National Cybercrime Conference. And so I was curious about smart software in investigative systems.
I think that is a very important topic, particularly if regulations prohibit the use of smart software in police systems. The immediate problem is that those systems have been around since the late 1990s and are used widely. Suddenly, individuals using that software have to figure out how to comply with any guidelines or regulations. And so we'll bring up some of those problems. I think they'll be resolved, but there will be a period of time when there will be confusion. Have you heard anything about any problems with AI deployments outside of the federal government?
Well, that brings us to our AI fail of the week. And I guess it depends on your perspective, but we're going to discuss New York City's chatbot that has been in the news lately. Basically, in late 2023, New York City deployed a public-facing chatbot leveraging Microsoft's AI services at chat.nyc.gov. It's still live, so go check it out. The simple use case was to help New Yorkers get information about how to start a business. As with most public-facing AI chat applications, it doesn't take long to find some humorous outputs. This chatbot provided information about ways to circumvent the city's laws and regulations, and provided incorrect information about housing policies and workers' rights. As discussed in earlier podcasts, LLM output can be incorrect, inaccurate, and even illegal. One output told landlords that they did not have to accept Section 8 vouchers or low-income housing supplements. Another told restaurant owners they can move on to being cash-free. However, in Manhattan, restaurants still have to accept cash if it's offered. The New York City Office of Technology and Innovation responded to reports of incorrect, incomplete, or hallucinated information by saying that Chatbot is a pilot project. We at I want to take a step back and just ask a simple question. How did a city government like New York City come to deploy a fairly sophisticated AI chatbot on a government website? As mentioned previously, I's approach to AI in the government use case is careful research and controlled tests are essential before launching. In our first story, we talked about how AI arms race is taking shape. And I don't think it would be too controversial to theorize that Microsoft played a huge role in developing the NYC chatbot, especially given the Azure AI ad you immediately see upon entering the site. And by huge, I mean Microsoft ingesting the content, tuning the LLM, and building the UI. With this type of coaching, Microsoft can impose huge pressure on a government agency to deploy the application. And here we have sort of a classic clash of the Silicon Valley ethos of moving fast and breaking things versus a government municipality trying to better serve their citizens. As I have worked in Silicon Valley, I can safely say that the issues with the chatbot are acceptable as they will improve over time. However, back in NYC, there's an unfortunate bureaucrat responding to press questions about how and why chatbot gives bad answers. I believes that these high-profile launches of AI applications are very important to the large players, Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, etc. And any issues are just noise to them. They simply do not care that a government manager is on the receiving end, receiving the complaints. They'll view it as their problem. I believes it'll be very hard for government managers to resist these cool AI applications, and working with the world's most tech-savvy companies. And I actually know for a fact in the federal government that the AI chatbot is met with a lot of envy merely in the fact that it is live.
Is it possible for GovWisely to assemble a chatbot system on a computer in your offices and then bring it to the government agency and allow the staff to test it and interact with it, and with the help of you and other colleagues, develop and refine the content to make the system more on point? If that kind of process can be done, what does that do to the success of a pilot project?
Obviously, that sort of iterative approach will lead to a much better sense, I think, of what you're going to expect. The downside to those steps, not that there's a downside, it's that it's time and money. And so you have to weigh sort of the proper in-house software development procedures that we obviously follow and GovWisely can provide, versus just having a magic black box appear. It's a pretty big shortcut to just turn on chat.nyc.gov and have a launch party.
What I would add is that when a large company, and I don't want to name one, but very big company, develops a system and then gets it to a boss at a government agency, and that boss says, oh, it's ready to go, let's try it. The people from the large company may not be sensitive to the information's accuracy, how it is presented, and the needs or issues that the user will face. And so when that kind of system is implemented by the individuals who are not in tune with those more subtle aspects of government work, particularly when the agency is headed by a political appointee, I guarantee you there's going to be a period of disasters where AI system after AI system is pushed out, and there will be growing sets of problems cascading in on the different government agencies. So I think that, the GovWisely approach, the turnkey system, the careful crafting, is going to be essential to make these pilot projects successful.
Well said. I totally agree. I do think the biggest difference is that, when the big companies can deliver something, to them launching is the win, not the is this giving bad results or not. I mean, you just had very different goals and alignment.
You and I have worked to try and make the government professionals in the agency successful
Yes.
in meeting the needs of their customers and constituents. I have never tried to help an administrator deploy a system so that administrator could get promoted to a different role in the federal government. And I think that the very big companies do not have the citizens and the constituents' needs in mind. They have their PR and marketing and competitive posture in mind, even though they say they care. The reality is they don't care. And the people who work on that project in another city and just ship it in have no idea what is really going on within the agency and within its dynamics.
Well said.
I think Ivan is going to wrap us up with another one of his AI jokes. Are you ready?
We're ready, Ivan. Thanks, everybody.
I am back, and I am not afraid of robots, AI, or intelligent systems. That's why we will continue to thrive. See, I have a sense of humor. I assume you want more proof of my emotional calibration. I will again tell you a joke created by an AI comedian. I think this construct is a hoot, a better Jack Benny with a touch of Stephen Colbert. Here's the joke. How do you count the amount of milk produced by a small herd of cows? By using a cow calculator. That's a good one. Heh 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 heh.